everyone, and welcome back to another episode in our series of Real Women, Real Lives, Real Wisdom. I'm Gillian Clarke. I'm an occupational therapist and an emotional wellbeing coach, and I help busy midlife women rush less and live more. Probably something we could all do with a bit more of this year, hence why we're doing this. And I'm joined today by Ruth KUDZI. Ruth, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. So I'm Ruth KUDZI. I am an ICF business and mindset coach. I'm also an energy coach, a coach trainer. So I train people to become coaches, a best-selling author, and a podcaster. So I guess I may sometimes be called busy.
But you live more with it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So Ruth is one of the 8 people I reached out to collaborate with on this series. And the intention behind this series, if you haven't caught me saying this before, is really to inspire hope and just a real sense of hope in women who are really feeling completely under pressure and overwhelmed with everything that life is just chucking at them at the moment, and really to share hope and wisdom, just like these 8 women have done for me, actually, whether they realize it or not, during my own journey back from sort of burnout and depression and into kind of really living my purpose. And Ruth, I think we probably met about 2.5 years ago. I joined one of your programs, your
Yeah.
old style kind of accelerate your success program,
Yeah.
I think.
I think it was, do you know, I know when you signed up. You signed up when I was in Melbourne. So that was March 2018.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost 3 years ago then.
Gosh, it is, isn't it?
Anyway, let's move on from that. We've known each other for a while, and the reason I reached out to you, Ruth, to be part of this is because I joined your program at a time when I was just becoming a coach.
Mm.
I've obviously been a therapist for many years, and I was coming out of that burnout stage. I'd really realized that I wanted to help others do the same, and I wanted to, I was coming through my coach training, but I had no idea about business. Like, what the hell is that all about? And I had like a set of skills, and I sort of vaguely knew who I wanted to help, but the bit in between was like a huge void. And I watched a couple of Ruth's lives and followed her for a bit, stalked you actually for a bit. And you really inspired me, not just to, pick up the kind of skills in business, but actually just to cut through the BS stories that I was telling myself that were keeping me in that kind of, safe space. And actually, I still need, I come back to that regularly, and I don't think there's anyone ever that's cured from the BS stories. I know you say that a lot.
No, I don't. I definitely go back to them probably daily, if I'm
Exactly.
honest.
That's why part of this series is titled Real Women, because we're real women at the end of the
Yeah.
day, aren't we? So that's why you've inspired me, and I'm just so hugely grateful for you to join me in this venture and collaborate and be able to pass on wisdom to other women. So how about you share your quote, because that's what this is all about, isn't it? Sharing a quote that's inspired you in your journey, and tell us a bit about the story behind it.
So it is probably a quote that I made up, although I would say it's got its origin. So I can probably thank Carol Dweck, who wrote Mindset, for this. So it's inspired by her. Says everything is here to make us grow. So the reason that I say this is, like, when things are really, really tough, I remind myself of the opportunities to learn. Now, I'm a former deputy head teacher. So, this is the kind of thing that I used to say to my students, like, what can we learn from this? How can we grow? But it really helps because, let's be honest, we can all go into victim mode sometimes, can't we? We're all like, oh, why did this happen to me? And we can all go externally and blame other people because that's safer for us. We all go there. Doesn't mean that we're a bad person, but we all go there at times. But if we can take a step back and say, okay, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to help me grow? Then we reframe it, and then we're building new neural pathways in our brain, new ways of being. We're keeping our brain alive. So it really helps. Sometimes it's harder than others. Like, sometimes you might have made a massive mistake in your business. Like, I've made loads, or you might have upset someone, or, something might have happened to a member of your family. And it's really difficult to sometimes see this in the moment. So I do want to say to people, if you're listening to this and you're like, at the moment, I'm going through something really hard, you don't have to see this straight away. But if you can kind of remind yourself, like, there is going to be something here that is going to help me grow as a person, even if I don't see it right now. If I can keep that thought in my brain, it may take me weeks, it may take me months, it may take me years. Like, honestly, you know, some of the things that I've been through in my life, and it's really funny, we're doing this today, I was doing this podcast yesterday, and now I can talk about things and I'm like, oh, like, I can see, like, that was so important and it helped me grow. But at the time I was like, yeah, why me? Yeah, what's wrong with me? Why does this always happen to me? Yeah, and we go into that, don't we? We can go into that negative spiral where we're like, we're not good enough. Why, you know, we're a victim, and we all do it. So I really want anyone listening, if you're recognizing that you do any of this stuff, you are normal. Like, I don't think I know anybody who doesn't sometimes go into that victim mode, who doesn't sometimes go into that blaming others mode, because it's so much easier than to say, right, okay, I have to accept this situation and look at the growth. And sometimes I have to take responsibility that I made a mistake. And that's a hard place to go. So start and be prepared that it's not always going to be easy.
So how why is this kind of your quote, you know, a little bit about perhaps your journey from where you were before to really truly stepping into your purpose?
Yeah, I think this is, you know, actually from when I was young, you know, I, like, everything that I went through. So when, you know, when I was at school, and I really didn't enjoy school, which is so funny because I then became deputy head, really didn't enjoy school. And it's like, now I look back, I'm like, well, what was it teaching me? What were those lessons? And then, like, I had some things happen to me when I was in my early 20s that were, well, in my teens and early 20s, that weren't great. But, you know, everything has got me to where I am today. And I think for me, it was that realization that I could control things, but I could only control the things about me. So I could only control how I responded to things. I could only control how I behaved and what I thought. Couldn't do anything else. And I had that realization about 7 years ago. So it took me till I was 35 to have that realization. Not always the quickest learner. And then it's, yeah, and it's really become my mantra since then. So obviously, as a teacher, I used to say this to people and students, but I didn't always used to believe it myself. And then there was part of me that was like, okay, I read all of this stuff, I know Carol Dweck, you know, I read all of this stuff, but I'm not really doing it. And now, like, I'll give an example. I'm a coach trainer, so I train people to become ICF accredited coaches. So to do that, I had to get all of my accreditations. So I was getting my PCC and my MCC. Now, I'd left a big gap between, yeah, doing all my training and then applying for that. So I worked with a mentor coach, and the very first time he listened to one of my recordings, oh my gosh, like, he's so nice, but the feedback was kind of like, there's quite a lot of work to do, Ruth, because I got into bad habits. And bear in mind, this was because it was aligned to the ICF standards, so it had to meet specific standards. It didn't mean that I was awful at my job. And I remember thinking, like, part of me was like, am I ever going to be able to do this? And then I was like, and I said to him in school, I was like, you know, it feels like I'm climbing a massive mountain, but I've got a growth mindset, so I know that I can develop and grow. And he was like, yeah, you're going to do it. And I think it took about 2 months for me to meet the PCC standard, first of all. And honestly, the first time, the poor man must have just been thinking, what can I say? Because I was a mentor, coach, teacher, trainer, all in one session, which is okay, but it's not okay for the ICF. So I think that was last year, actually. That was 2019. And sort of probably, well, yeah, a bit over a year ago. So it's really funny that we go through these things, and then we're like, okay, if I actually believe this, and sometimes we need to remind ourselves to believe it, then I can see the growth and I can see the development.
Do you know, that is such a powerful message. at any time, but massively so right now, isn't it? And you know, there are, and this was my real drive actually, really, for doing this whole series. It's, you know, we know, don't we, as women, that we work better when we're with other women, when we're collaborating with other people, not necessarily women, but when we're collaborating, we're kind of built to be part of a team and collaborate. And we're also, I think, as women, kind of looking around our networks, picking up the cues and the signals, often completely in our unconscious mind, of course, but we're picking up the cues and signals about how to behave and how to respond in this monumental, you know, crapness that has happened this year. And yet, actually, what's happening is we're looking around and we're thinking, oh, I'd normally kind of check out this person, but actually they look like they've really got it all handled. Oh my God, it must just really be me that's not coping this year. And the truth is, no one has it 100% handled, but we're still looking around for these cues. And actually, you know, if we can come here and say, yeah, hands up, you know, I've had monumental, you know, cock-ups this year or what have you, and yet we've got the growth mindset and everything, but we've got the lessons that go with that. We can pass these on and be part of that community for other women to look at.
Exactly. And I always say, like I say this to my daughters as well, I say to them, like, if you got everything right, first of all, where would you grow? Where would you develop? But equally, yeah, one of the things that I've been saying to lots and lots of people over this year is like, what you have to remember is that we're all going through this together, but we've all got our own perceptions.
Totally.
We've all got our own experiences. So, you know, my friends, like having little kids, it was hard. But then I've got friends who can't have kids and they found it really hard because they found that it was amplified. And then I have friends and so every situation was difficult. And I think if we stop comparing and we actually acknowledge it's okay for things not to be great. And those people that are pretending everything's great, they're not telling the truth. They're either not telling the truth to themselves or they're not telling the truth to you. And often they're not telling the truth to themselves.
Exactly. And I think that's actually one of the biggest lessons here, isn't it? It's tune into yourself, like you say, with that, you know, looking internally and realizing what's really going on for you and learning those lessons. And that's what really enables you to step into who you really are and align yourself to what you believe in and you know, live an easier, a happier, more purposeful life. I mean, that's definitely what I'm all about in my work, and I absolutely know that is for you as well. And I think these lessons are absolutely there, whether you're thinking about something in your business or whether you're thinking about something in your life or in your life role as a mom or as caring for someone who's poorly, whatever it is. These lessons, these wisdom points that you've shared, Ruth, and actually all the ones that the other women in this series are sharing are so poignant right across life at the moment.
Can't wait to hear the others.
I know, it's so exciting. It really is so exciting. I just, you know, just a huge thank you again for being part of this, Ruth, and you know, sparing your time and you know, passing on, paying it forward and passing on your learning and your wisdom. I will be sharing when we post this video live, I'll share contact details for you below the video when it goes live, and also I can't wait to illustrate your quote for you. This is part of I know, it's just part of me combining all of my passions into something that can mean something to someone else. So I'm hand illustrating all of these quotes. For anyone that doesn't know yet, these quotes will be illustrated and turned into prints and postcards, and my real passion behind this as well is that this, you know, 20% of the profit of all of the sales of these will go to Mind, which is a charity that's very close to my own heart. I know it's close to yours as well. I do a lot of work for them, and actually I think they're one of the charities that need our support right now. And you know, so this series will be helping the women that are watching these videos and tuning into the messages, but will also support the people that Mind can support on a larger scale as well. So yeah,
I'm so proud to be part of it. Thank you so much for asking me.
Welcome. Cheers.